Survey says if elections were held today, our guests are sure winners. I'm Pia Hontiveros. This is On the Record.
Yan po ay sukatan ng kasikatan, hindi po yung sukatan ng kwalifikasyon.
Itong mga tao na ito, very brave ditong pumunta dito, mag-traffic ng drugs. Yan, alam nilang wala tayong death penalty.
Joining us in this episode, former Senator Jinggoy, Estrada, and Ilocos Norte Governor Imee Marcos. Good evening to you both.
Good evening.
What were you pointing to?
They said representative.
Oh, binasa ko naman, Governor.
Yeah.
Fairness.
Okay,
Kasi
right
suki
before...
kita nung Congress
Oo
pa.
nga eh.
Those were
Oo.
the days when we were young and reckless.
Ouch.
How did
Okay.
you become reckless?
Wait. We have a... Nako, ibang usapan na to. Teka muna. Wait. Kanina, before we started, we were saying na baka iba na dapat yung title, ano? Kasi parang Malacanang brats. Kaya ako yung anak ng presidente. Pero
ako
sabi...
na yung ultimate doon. Tagal-tagal namin
Ikaw, ano?
doon.
Oo. Pero ikaw, Jinggoy, Senator Jinggoy,
I never became a brat.
you were never a brat. And medyo matanda ka. Hindi ka na bata nung
Hindi na
nasa
ako
Malacanang
bata.
yung tatay.
Nalilit kami. Kami lit-lit pa namin. Talagang mga bratty pa kami. Takbo ng takbo ang kukulit.
Governor Imee, every time you say that, somebody will react. But wait, we'll get to that in a bit. But,
Okay.
Well, let's start first with Senator Jinggoy. Although my first question to you will be about your brother. So the brother of Imee Marcos, si Bongbong, and then yung brother ni Senator Jinggoy,
I
si
love my
JV.
brother. Ang bait-bait ng brother ko.
What,
Nagtitiis.
as opposed to?
Wala akong sinasabi.
Okay.
Ka-friend ko sila
Ba't ka
lahat.
naiinggit? Ba't ka naiinggit,
Mahal
Senator
namin sila
Jinggoy?
lahat.
And then,
Ba't ka naiinggit
love
na?
niya yung brother
Dahil
niya.
love niya yung brother niya.
Tsaka love ni Senator Bongbong si Governor
Okay.
Imee.
So yung brother mo, si JV.
Si Jude. I love
Si Jude.
Oh, love ako nun.
Okay. Pero si JV, yun ang pag-usapan natin
Si
ngayon.
Jude, kabataang barangay. Yun ang suki ko.
Si JV, love mo rin.
Ako, I love all my siblings, honestly speaking.
Yeah, okay. He was interviewed this morning. He was interviewed this morning in a television show, and he was saying that this is probably the first time two siblings are running for the Senate at the same time. My problem is I don't have the luxury of name recall. But you, Senator Jinggoy, you of course you used your father's screen name, Estrada, for which he's very popular. But JV uses Ejercito. How do you react to that when he talks like that?
Yeah, I'm my father's son. From the very start when I entered politics in 1988, I had already legalized my surname in court. So all my official documents states that my surname is already Estrada.
Okay.
So when I ran for vice mayor, mayor, and eventually senator, my official documents bear the name of Estrada.
Okay, so para bang brand name siya? And the implication is that that's the reason why you're doing well in the surveys? Because
Well,
Estrada ang
not only
dala mo.
that, of course.
Not only that, right?
Not only that.
But because you've been in the Senate much
I've been
longer.
in the Senate
no?
for 12 years, interrupted by 2 years. Siguro my record will speak for itself. I have, modesty aside, have passed several bills that was enacted into law.
Okay. Like we were saying, the implication here is that you have the advantage of, or the luxury, that if we use JV's term, no, the luxury of name recall. And so far, so good. You're doing well in the surveys. 6 to 10? 6 to 10,
Yes,
no?
yes. According to the pulsation survey.
Okay. As opposed to Jinggoy, nagugulan ako. As opposed to JV's 11
Pareho na
to
kayo ni Presidente
17. no?
Duterte.
As opposed to JV's 11 to 17. We'll go back to why, what other reasons you could be, for you doing well in the service. But may sinabi pa rin si JV, no? Sabi niya, and I quote, I'm now in the party of my father, but I might leave the party and join the NPC. It doesn't look good that two siblings will be running for the same party. He's leaving the PMP. Does your father know that? Did he consult your father? Did he consult you about this?
I don't think he consulted my father. In fact, he watched the interview of Senator JV this morning, and he was so surprised. And you know, Pia,
Your father watched the interview.
yes.
Yeah. Oh.
You know, Pia, even if I'm the last man standing in PMP, even if I'm a lone member of the PMP, I cannot abandon my father in exchange for my friends.
Yeah.
I will never do that. I will never abandon my parents.
Your father called you?
No, I
After that interview, how did
I
you know
went
of it?
to the city hall.
Okay. May sinabi rin isa pa, no, si JV. He said, my father has probably already given up on reconciling me and Jinggoy. It's been years, decades even. How did this all start?
You know, my father has been scolding me for my entire life. No, being the eldest of them all, sabi ng tatay ko, you have to reach out to all your siblings. And I did all that. I did what my father instructed me to do so.
So how did you reach out to JV?
So I talked to him. Minsan sinusundo ko pa siya. Well, wala talaga eh. I
okay.
did what I had to do.
Okay, well,
being the
Sa
eldest
totoo-
among them.
Sa totoo lang, lahat kami nahihirapan din. Kasi kaibigan namin pareho eh. Masama
okay.
talaga sa kalooban.
Well, let's shift to the other brother of the,
other-
the brother of the other Malacanang brat
Parang
tonight.
everyone you want to interview isn't here. Ba yan?
No naman, no naman. Your brother, si former Senator Bongbong Marcos, he's facing a very huge battle at the Presidential Electoral Tribunal. Yesterday's ruling on the yung shading ng ovals sa balota, do you see that as a victory for him or a setback? And do you think that will be enough for him to win this case or to lose the case or whatever?
I think he's very confident that he's going to finally win this case, although it's taking forever and ever, simply to count 3 provinces lang at mahigit ng 2 taon at kalahati. So, medyo nakakainip na talaga. But pursigido si Bongbong, he really wants to follow through and make certain that he proves his point that in fact there was cheating in the election.
If he wins this case, will this be a vindication for the Marcos family? And on the other hand, if he loses, what message would that bring to your family?
I don't like these words, vindication and so on.
Okay.
It's a little bit over dramatic.
Yeah. So
And
what
I
would
think,
it be? What would it be
I
then?
think it will simply prove that there was cheating in the election, and we all know na sabi nga, para naman sa pag-ibig to. Talaga na, Bongbong Marcos, nakatulog ka lang, pinaltang ka na. Kaya't naging hugot line na siya. Pero ayun nga, we're discussing in the family, given the possibility that Bongbong's protest will not have been resolved, baka iba na yung tumakbo. So I started going around. Sa totoo lang, yung buong listahan ng mga senatorial balls, puro nagkakambaking, katulad ni Jinggoy, at yung ibang senador naman magre-re-elect. Ako lang yung ang layo, pinanggalingan nasa Typhoon Ongpong ng Ilocos Norte. So it's a real trip to familiarize yourself with the rest of the Philippines after having been in Ilocos as governor for the past 8-9 years.
Yeah, it's a challenge, no? Parang to introduce yourself, basically.
Yes, it really is.
Even if
And
you do
also
bring the
to-
Marcos name, syempre, there are places na hindi ka talaga kilala pa rin ng tao, no?
That's right. But on the other hand, ako rin hindi na ako familiar like the brave new world that is Mindanao. It's really changed tremendously, and all that's going on in the Visayas and the island provinces, it's changed a great deal. And it's important that we know what's going on kasi ibang-iba na ang sitwasyon. Hindi naman lahat Ilocos Norte.
All right, okay. Well, it's good that you mentioned Ompong, and it was a good thing, no? A lot of people say it was a good thing you were there in Ilocos Norte, home in Ilocos Norte, before Ompong hit. People will always remember that meeting with President Duterte and you beside him, no? Teka muna, wait, teka, let me finish. You were voicing your frustrations about COA, the Commission on Audit, and how their policies don't help when emergencies arise. No? And then the President said na nga yung itulak na lang. And then, yes, gumaganon ka.
Happy ko na kasi kami.
What was going on there ba? What was happening?
I think what's happening is that, well, I have a high level of paranoia following Yolanda. Kasi kung maalala ninyo, yung nanay ko, taga Tacloban. And my first cousins run the place. Sina Mayor Alfred and Mayor Cristina and Martin. All my cousins are there. So Talagang takot na takot ako dun sa super typhoon nung sabi dadating. Ang aga-aga ko nag-evacuate, linikas ko na talagang pati yung mga animals, yung mga hayop, linikas din. Kasi mga Ilocano ayaw magsi-alisan ng bahay kapag hindi dala-dala lahat ng hayop at gamit nila, pambira talaga. Di ba sa Amerika, baliktad, lahat nagta-traffic, umaalis pag may hurricane. Pero mga Ilocano, umuwi pa talaga sasagupain talaga yung bagyo. So, medyo OA na nga, sabi nila, tapos nag-liquor ban pa, tapos 2 araw na walang pasok. Pero natutuwa naman ako dahil 0 casualty. Samantalang hirap na hirap sina Governor Pacalso ngayon sa Benguet. I came from there. And they are still looking for bodies and trying to account for all the miners who were lost in the landslide. So nag-pay off naman kahit paano yung pagiging praning at OA, tiis-tiis na lang.
Napraning ka rin, malupit ang ang Ongkong o ang COA?
Kasi nung nagsigising kami, dapan-dapa lahat ng bukid. So even if we had 0 casualty, 0 palay din.
But Governor, I hope you don't mind. Help us understand. What is the challenge when you have COA there?
Well,
being
our
very strict about
understanding,
everything.
alam rin ni Senator Jinggoy yan kapag calamity funds, there's a level of flexibility and urgency. So necessarily, hindi dapat nag-i-impose ng usual requirements. Not that we're trying to evade them, but simply because of the
You need the money right away.
You need the money right away. And what was in my mind, as well as the other mayors, I was telling everyone they needed to have cash on hand because it was the weekend. Aabutin kami ng weekend. So sabi ko, pag kinailangan ng gasolina, yung mga search and rescue, pag kinailangan ng medisina yung matatanda sa evacuation center, pag kinapos tayo ng pagkain, walang choice. Biglang ini-impose nung isang COA na kailangan daw yung 15,000 pesos petty cash at ililiquidate lang sa pagkain. Talagang pumanting na yung tenga namin lahat. At hindi naman pwedeng ganun. Kasi libo-libo, mga 14,000 ang in-evacuate namin. Anong gagawin namin sa 15,000 pesos?
You did try to settle that with COA. You did try to explain.
Later on they explained. Then they started hauling out all the Ondoy 2009 memos and circulars. That in fact it's 500,000 that can actually be spent. But that's after the fact. You know, the auditors are a little bit different from each other. And sometimes, I guess, they're being overly cautious, even in a state of calamity.
All right. We'll have to take a very quick break. Our guests, Imee Marcos and Jinggoy Estrada, on the record. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. This is on the record. Our guests, former Senator Jinggoy Estrada and Ilocos Norte Governor Imee Marcos. Senator Jinggoy, you are running for the Senate, right? You've made up your mind.
Yes, definitely.
Definitely. And Governor Imee.
Ako yung magulo.
Sige, kwento mo.
Tatakbo.
Tatakbo? Okay.
Hanggat may lupa, tatakbo talaga. Hindi, magulo pa rin kami sa Ilocos Norte. Yung mga anak namin ayaw magsitakbo. So that's our issue. And I've been escaping, I've been avoiding the Senate for so long. Rine-recruit ako dati, hindi ako matuloy-tuloy.
So kung hindi yung Senado...
The only thing that's actually inspiring now, aside from the fact that there's a bongbong issue, is ang daming babae. Magiging all-girl power ang Senate if ever sa 2019. And
masaya.
Parang masaya, ladies room. Nakakaaliw.
But what's going to happen in Ilocos? Because you're governor, you had wanted someone from your family to run for governor, right?
Well,
Who
that's
should
what
that
the
have been?
expectation of the people in Ilocos. I have a son who's a board member, but he's still very hesitant. And my mother says that she's been 100 years in service and deserves a break, which is also reasonable. So yun, medyo,
And she's congresswoman now.
She's congresswoman now. She's also retiring. So there's a bit of a reshuffle.
So wait, so if Matthew runs for governor of Ilocos Norte, then you can run for the Senate. Ganun ba yun?
There's some level of confusion, and Bongbong's sons originally promised one of them would run, and then biglang ayaw na, because he just graduated from the London School and got his first job, on and on.
What about Irene's sons?
Malapit na, ha? Parang pinag-uusapan na wala lang, pero 10 days na lang or whatever it is, di ba?
What about Irene's sons?
Ay, nako. Like
They're not.
their mom, they're not really interested. Parang na-trauma na yung mga anak namin sa politika. Hindi na sila inspired sumali sa public service.
Okay,
ika nga.
but can you categorically say that if there is a member of the Marcos family that will run for governor of Ilocos Norte, then you will run for the Senate?
Well, it's not so simple.
even.
There's so many
Okay.
factors. There's Bongbong's case. Baka naman hulog ng langit, matapos na yan.
Okay, and what do you mean? If kung matapos na yan, and then what happens?
Well, I think ang dami namin pinag-uusapan, gulo ng pamilya ko, ang dami naming issue eh. Dahil yun nga, many don't want to run, and then on the other hand, we still need somebody to represent the North kasi there doesn't seem to be anyone coming from Northern Luzon. And given this typhoon and all the issues that have been arising from the typhoon and the high prices and the lack of rice and
Okay.
all this
But-
ongoing drama,
Yeah.
I think it's important that somebody voices for the North.
Okay. It is interesting because if you don't run, parang syempre people will say, sayang naman yung standing mo sa surveys, which is quite good now, right?
Alalay lang ako nito si Senator Jinggoy. At pati ni Senator JV, alalay ko sa lahat eh. Dahil
Okay.
sila nakatakbo na, ako lang yung sa listahan na wala pa talaga sa
oo.
eksena.
Pero
na
7
ano
to
eh.
11 ka, that's not bad, ha? I mean, of course, it helps that you have the
A
surname,
patented
no?
name, like
Oo.
the Estrada
Yeah.
name.
At saka napakasipag dito si Governor Imee.
How many provinces have you been to?
Oh boy, marami na rin
I mean,
eh.
what, half of the provinces already you've been able to go around?
Siguro nakaka-half na rin ako. Kasi
Dami.
umiikot din ako,
She's all
nag-e-effort
over.
ako eh. Dahil I've been in Ilocos nga so long. So, extra effort. Tapos nakikiangkas pa ako kay Senator Cynthia sa Nationalista.
But you're still able to attend to the needs of your province.
Oo naman, nung bagyo, drop everything and sort it out.
Yeah.
What's interesting also is that I have a whole network of kabataang barangay. The antique katandaang barangay na dating SK. So I see them all over the place. I get lots of invitations from governors, vice governors, mayors. Ang dami nila eh. They're all
Yeah.
over the place.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. And the others naman are, if not elected officials, some of them are in government and
Yeah.
private sector. So, nangungumbida.
Speaking of Kabataan Barangay, did you hear about the reaction that came about when there was supposed to be a Kabataan Barangay? What was it? A reunion or a
Oh yeah,
gathering?
we had
at
a
UP,
reunion and
ano?
it happened to be in UP and it was just a venue. Nobody was thinking of making any political statement. We were just happy to see each other. It's like a high school reunion. It's lots of fun actually.
Okay.
Eh wala namang political statement doon. Kaya lang, syempre everyone is free.
Yeah. Well, every time
to
you
their
do or say
opinion.
anything, talaga may political implication kasi siguro.
Oo nga,
no?
yung iba kulang sa pansin eh. Kami talaga sumusobra na yung pansin.
Baka kaya tumataas ka sa survey kasi palagi, araw-araw, di ba, nababanggit yung pangalang Marcos. Every single day, with no fail. But anyway, I wanted to ask Senator Jinggoy, you were in detention for what, 4 years?
3 years and 3 months.
3 years and 3 months. I'm not going to ask you to describe it because I'm sure this is something but you don't want to relive it anymore, no? But how has it changed you?
Well, I became a stronger person. Of course, I became closer to God. Wala naman kami ginagawa ni Senator Bong doon, kundi magdasal, kumain, manood ng TV, at mag-exercise.
That's it.
That's it.
You don't play walang board games, card
Wala.
games,
Minsan chess. Games of the
Chess.
Generals.
Game of the Generals. Ba, sino mas magaling sa inyong dalawa?
Ha?
Sa Game of the Generals. Let's check.
Teka,
What?
si Senator Bong, he's still thinking,
He will run, ano?
he's still thinking about it.
Yeah, but
Most
he has
probably, I think, because the surveys included,
Yeah.
the Pulse Asia included his name, and it's quite encouraging.
Okay, so when is he going to make a decision?
Maybe before filing.
Before. That's helpful. Okay. Governor Imee.
Nauso na yung substitution, di ba? Dahil kay Presidente Duterte.
Oo.
So, parang may drama rin ganun.
So
I don't
parang
know.
baka may ganun sa Marcos family
No,
also.
I keep joking, Mayor Inday Sara Duterte, that she's going to run for the Senate so that it'll be a ladies' room. And
But
she
she said-
says no.
Oh.
She wants to stay in Davao.
Ah, okay.
Mayor
She also
Sara,
has little kids.
Yeah,
but
right.
there's always the interesting possibility that she will in fact run in the end.
I hope she
okay.
considers.
I want her to run, be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. We have like a minute to go before the break, and then we have one last stretch. But I have other questions. Governor Imee, there was a lot of reaction to your brother's taped conversation with former Defense Minister Juan Ponce Enrile. Napapaganon ka, no? But wait, you'll answer that after the break. We'll just take a very short break. This is On Record. Stay with us. We're on the last stretch of the program. This is On the Record. Imee Marcos and Jinggoy Estrada are here. Governor Imee, a very brief answer, I understand, you're going to give to that question before the break. Yun na yun. Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you very much for keeping it very brief. Okay. There's all the talk about martial law. Siguro na nauumay ka na, no?
A little bit. It's
A
that
little bit.
season.
Yeah, okay. Well, that season, pinag-usapan martial law. Do you think President Duterte can or should declare martial law, Senator Jinggoy?
I don't think so.
No?
Only in Mindanao.
Okay.
In
Governor
Mindanao,
Imee.
they're over the moon. They wanted to
Yes.
remain there. It's really helping them,
Okay.
and it's extremely popular measure.
But a nation, martial law part 2, in a sense,
well,
nationwide.
the conditions don't require.
Okay. A survey, always a
As a matter
snapshot
of
in
fact,
time.
the
Yeah.
martial law provision now in the new constitution, well, not new, as of 87, don't really give you that many powers. Kasi
Right.
pabalik-balik ka ng Congress. Sabi nga ni Presidente Duterte, kahit hindi siya mag-martial law, meron naman siyang kapangyarihan. At kapag nag-martial law, hindi naman ganun katindi, kumbaga.
Okay. Well, let's talk about briefly about the survey. So since the two of you are doing well, even if you said, well, Senator Jinggoy said he's going to run, ikaw naman, Governor Imee, not yet very clear based on what your family is going to decide, no?
It's
If you
girl
do make
power.
it, oh, nga. Wait.
We don't make up
before,
our minds till forever.
Wait, if you do make it to the Senate, no, what kind of legislation are you talking about? And keep in mind that there is this latest survey. People's concerns now are about the rising prices, inflation, wages, etc. Senator Jinggoy.
Ako yun. Kasi Ilocana ako. Galit ako sa
Ano,
high
ladies
prices.
first ba? Gusto daw niya sumagot
Hindi.
muna eh.
Wala.
Ha?
Ako, all pro-poor laws that I will enact in the Senate. If you remember, I had passed this kasambahay bill,
Right.
which caters to 2.5 million kasambahay, which benefits 2.5 million kasambahays all over the country. And I intend to strengthen the LGUs and strengthen yung ating mga overseas Filipino
Yeah.
workers.
LGs, would you go for federalism? Yes or no?
Well, that has to be discussed thoroughly.
Okay. Governor Imee, would you go for federalism?
Yes, I think the
Yes.
principle really allows the local governments to be stronger and freer. Pero right now, it's all philosophical, diba? It's
Yeah.
all theory. So until I see the meat
Yeah.
on the bones, ewan.
Oo.
Pero yung high prices, that's my thing, syempre, where I come from. Ngayon, ang taas-taas ng bigas. Kung umaangal kami sa Ilocos at sa Norte na nagtatanim ng bigas,
Yeah.
kung kami umaangal sa presyo ng pagkain, paano pa yung Manila?
Yeah. So in terms of
we need to
yeah.
do a great deal, really strengthen the farmers, mechanize the farms, bring back a true NFA, buwagin na itong sham NFA na narito, and open
That's
up,
what you would concentrate on if
yeah,
you were to
and
be in the
Kadiwa.
Senate.
I think this is the first generation that can end poverty, and one of the key ways to do it, as we discovered in Ilocos, because we were able to bring poverty down from a high 35 to very much less than that, to a single digit, was through very low food prices, low prices also in gasoline and the basic
Yeah.
commodities.
Okay, I need a brief answer from both of you to this question. In the recent days, all this talk about Senator Antonio Trillanes and his arrest, was it right or was it wrong? Senator Jinggoy?
Let the court decide about it.
Governor Imee?
Yeah, it's legal. It's legal. I'm a little tired of it. I think we
Yeah.
should focus on really important issues like
Okay.
inflation.
All right. And what kind of a campaign would you run, if, Senator Jinggoy?
The same old style. Conventional style.
Governor Imee.
Oh, I'm a real try-hard. Not a millennial, but a phillennial.
Ano yung feeling?
Feeling millennial.
Feeling millennial, oh my good. Okay. All right. You have 10 seconds each for final words. Governor Imee, 10 seconds.
Okay, carry natin to. Pwedeng ibagsak ang presyo ng pagkain, pwedeng ibagsak ang presyo ng gasolina. Kailangan mag-effort lang at tutukan ng todo.
Okay. Senator
Well,
Jinggoy.
una-una napapasalamat ako. I would like to thank all our supporters for supporting our family, especially my father and myself. At doon sa mga hindi naniniwala sa akin,
Like who?
ha? Patutunayan ko po sa inyo kung ano po ang magagawa natin sa Senado.
Governor Imee Marcos, thank you very much for being here. Senator Jinggoy Estrada, thank you very much for being here. That is On the Record this week. Thank you for watching. I'm Pia Hontiveros.
Yan po ay sukatan ng kasikatan, hindi po yung sukatan ng kwalifikasyon.
Itong mga tao na ito, very brave ditong pumunta dito, mag-traffic ng drugs. Yan, alam nilang wala tayong death penalty.